Norma Grubb, thanks so much for joining me. It's great to see you.
A pleasure. Thank you so much for having me.
Yes, and you are the Enterprise AI and Data Science Director for PG&E, which DISTRIBUTECH is really excited to partner with on the upcoming Innovation Summit, November 13th in San Jose, California. So click the link in the episode description or the video description below to see more information about that. But we're going to be talking about all things artificial intelligence and how that intersects with the energy world and utilities. And specifically today, you and I are going to be talking about generative AI and what some of the opportunities are there for utilities, not only in the near term, but looking further out. So Norma, before we get to all that, can you share a bit about your background and what you're working on now at PG&E?
Absolutely. Very excited to have here. We're witnessing a new way of doing things in the future that's going to impact every single sector and in particular utilities. About my background, I have a doctoral degree in artificial intelligence from Syracuse University, and I have around 20 years of experience working in the IT, different type of projects, mostly in analytics and data, but also systems and platforms. And I have joined PG&E, this fantastic company, 2 years ago, and just supporting Patty Pope and the rest of the team in the transformation that we have ahead to improve the life of our customers, protecting the planet, and bringing new ways of developing energy for our customers. So excited to be here talking to you today.
Yeah, excited to have you. So help us frame really, how utilities are approaching AI, but generative AI is kind of a whole other level. And I think it's a topic that's really caught a lot of the industry, at least on the utility side, off guard. Like, what should we be doing? What should we be looking at? How do we think about governance and security and customer engagement, all those kinds of things? And I think a parallel thread here is that the easiest things to automate, like customer engagement and chatbots, that seems approachable for most utilities. Going to the next level seems to be a bit of a black box. So how do you think about AI and generative AI and how it's going to impact this industry?
Thank you, John. Very important question for all of us to answer and to be more knowledgeable about. Because we tend to confuse traditional AI with generative AI. So I appreciate the question. Generative AI, as the word says, is generating new content, is producing new content. So that's a key difference between traditional AI, which is predicting outcomes, optimizing processes, automation of processes. That's traditional AI. Generative AI brings to the table new digital entities. For example, when we process a document using one of the generative AI large language tools, such as ChatGPT, we get a summary. That summary is something that didn't exist before. And that's the generative power of generative AI, creating new content, which means new knowledge. The same when we create a new picture using one of the publicly available Gen AI tools for images. We're creating a new digital entity. And this is important to highlight because the power of these technologies is the ability to create new knowledge available to all of us at a speed that is faster than the speed that human can process, and making connections that maybe humans cannot make at this point. So it's tremendously powerful. At the same time, we need to be sure that the way we lead the technology is bringing the outcomes that improve humankind, and in particular for us, creating outcomes that support sustainability, protecting the environment, care to our customers, building trust with our customers, etc. So it's a tremendously powerful tool that we are very committed at PG&E to govern and manage in a way that serves the purposes of supporting our customers and improving sustainability. And bringing us to a better state of things. So that's the key difference between generative AI and AI. And it's a key difference that, again, brings new lines of work for us, because we need to use new digital assets in a new way that is different from the human knowledge that we typically manage, right? One of the components that we have in generative AI is what we call synthetic data, which is these pictures and summaries that Gen AI models create. We call it synthetic because they are not humanly generated. So we need to manage those in such a way that we can trust on the content. Because the technology is in a maturing phase, is not fully mature, the content may not be as reliable as traditional AI content is, in which you can trigger an automation, for example, let's say an app ride app. When we call a car in one of the rideshare apps, those automated artificial intelligence tools are very reliable. We know that a car is coming in 2 minutes, and we know when we will be dropped off. We don't have that type of maturity in generative AI technologies. So it's very important for all of us in the utilities and for all of us as users to help them mature. For example, typically when we use ChatGPT or some other large language models, we see a thumbs up or thumbs down option after we get our output. So let's go ahead and give it a thumbs up or a thumbs down, because that's the way in which we are helping the technology mature. We're training the model, as we say, as data scientists. In that sense, it's everybody's job to help mature this technology. And we need to be aware that we always need to review the output of these models because they are still in maturing phase. And as utilities responsible, accountable for improving the life of our customers, it's key for us to be aware of that accountability that we have.
I think that's a great segue, too, because we know that traditionally utilities are not thought of as being very innovative or quick by the external stakeholders. They're often chastised for not adopting new technologies and embracing innovation. And given that we are still in this maturing phase for AI, how do you navigate that? And maybe that's a way to share how PG&E has put together its strategy and maybe giving some guidance to utilities about where to start. I think for the most part, utilities really like to be fast followers. Not many of them like to lead. PG&E is a little different, and that's why I'm really excited to be talking to you about this, and I think is probably the best resource for me on a story like this, because PG&E does want to try new things and help the market mature and advance, where others are sitting back on the sidelines and saying, PG&E, you go figure this out. You go, make the mistakes along the way that we know comes with adopting anything new. How did you guys go about putting together that plan, and what does it look like?
For us, innovation is a topmost priority, but safety first. And we see this type of governance in technologies that are maturing, such as generative AI, as a safety call. We have to be safe first. We need to be safe in front of our customers. We need to be safe related to sustainability in the use of our resources. So we are going to innovate. And the best way to innovate is to make this technology safe. Instead of being on the news because there is some information leakage, or because the models are predicting things that didn't happen, or they are not predicting things that happened, we don't want to be in that situation. So innovation is not only about technology, it's a cultural type of behavior, how we innovate. And in this case, we strongly believe that being innovative also involves developing all the safety guardrails and all the evaluations to make sure that these models are performing properly. So the way we want to lead the way in the utility industry is through the way we want to lead the way in the utility industry is through leading use cases that are safe for everybody, that add value to our customers, that makes this technology evolve in a way that serves the purpose of improving our lives, and leading with love to our customers, to our planet, and making the technology serve that type of purposes. I think that's the best innovation that we can bring to the utility sector, embracing this technology in a way that serves the purpose of improving humankind.
Can you share some practical examples of how PG&E is using generative AI today, or thinking about using generative AI within the utility, whether it relates to engaging with the customer, or system planning, or load management? Like, where's your focus now, and where do you think the opportunity is maybe in the next few years?
Right now, the most mature models in generative AI are what we call the large language models, anything that processes text or language. So we are internally using these models to improve what we call the individual productivity of our coworkers. So things like processing emails automatically, or getting action items from a meeting, or processing documents. These type of use cases involving languages are the most robust in terms of we can rely on the output. Other use cases related to computer vision, identifying automatically from pictures assets in locations that are inaccessible, are also on the making. Processing automatically regulatory documents, again, is another language model type of use case. We are exploring those, again, with a keen eye on safety. So everything that is around language is safe for us to explore. Anything around computer vision, identification of assets, is safe for us to explore. And then partnering up with different type of companies, organizations, vendors, and using our own talented pool of data scientists to make this technology evolve further in the future. As part of the outcomes of this Innovation Summit, we really want to nail down a series of use cases that we think we can partner up with different companies, peer utilities, and use internal resources to make them progress further.
I was talking to some leading vendors in this space too, who work with utilities on the grid software side. So that's where I'll stop. But in thinking about AI products that they also ship and try to sell to utilities, many of them are even wary about what they put out to market right now, because this industry does not have the luxury of failing forward faster like a consumer-facing industry would. You use the example of a rideshare app. So if Uber or Lyft wouldn't have worked and the app was buggy and the cars didn't show up, they go out of business and start something new the next week. You guys don't have that luxury. You can't just start over. There is no acceptable loss. There's no acceptable outage. This kind of, N-1 kind of rules the day. So I wonder if that's in part stifling some speed and innovation, just because we know there's such a bar to clear. So how do you internally at PG&E think about, the balance between safety and operational excellence, but also speed and urgency, and the climate crisis is here, and electric vehicles are here, and we need more distributed energy resources. So where are we going to put them? Data centers are coming. How are we going to manage that load? So you see these tools off in the distance, but you also don't want to break anything. Like, what sort of parameters do you guys put around your own tool testing and workshopping as you guys find the best fit for what you need?
Absolutely. That is an excellent question. And I will say that's one of the challenges of following the benchmark of the digital industry for industries that are not 100% digital. The model fails fast and recover faster. That is something that in the digital world you can afford sometimes having. But in this highly engineering asset type of industry, it's harder to apply a concept like that. So we'll go back always to safety first for us and for to serve our customers and to serve the planet. Those are the most important principles that we have when we deliver anything. So if we have to put in place for now a technology that is maybe a little bit considered old, but is safe and reliable, that's what we will do, just to support our principles. Meanwhile, we can always experiment with new technology until we make it safe, right? We shouldn't just stop experimenting in a sandbox environment. So I think the key for us is to keep things effectively delivering, efficiently delivering, and safely delivering, but at the same time experimenting via sandboxes or different type of partnerships in a safely manner. Sometimes there is a compromise between balance and there is a compromise or a balance between speed and precision. So sometimes we need to be a little bit slower than the rest of the industry, but being extremely accurate and precise for the safety of our customers. And sometimes we are able just to pick it up and be faster than anybody else. It's always a compromise. What is the state of maturity of the technology in order to be fast? Or maybe on the background, working very hard in a sandbox environment, in an experimental environment, to make it safer so we can go faster.
That's excellent. So have you as an organization put together clear governance guidelines, or do you plan to, around your use and incorporation of AI in your processes? I think about not only the reliability piece, we were talking about outage minutes and needing to be responsible there, but then you're also dealing with billions of data points that are pulled from advanced metering infrastructure, and that seems like such a near-term opportunity to me, is that the data analysis piece and what AI could do around there. But then you think about, there are customer protections and how far do we want to go? And any tool that touches the customer, I'm already hearing about utilities deploying LLMs, large language models like you're talking about, but it's walled off from the customer. So the generative AI aspect of the tool is in the back office, where the tool that's engaging with the customer is not learning, is static because of safety concerns. So where are you guys at in thinking about governance and security and customer safety in relation to how you use these tools?
Actually, when the generative AI technology disruption came to the market, the first thing that we developed was a governance process, because we acknowledged that the technology wasn't mature enough, but we want to take advantage of it. So the way to do it is just to put guardrails. So you can still use it, but because you are aware of the risks, you identify the risks, you map the risk, you mitigate the risk, and then you start using. Again, it's this concept of, walking slowly will get you safely wherever you want to go, while you can speed forward and be fast in experimentation. So embracing experimentation as much as you can and being fast there in a sandbox, safe environment, but at the same time, when we are deploying solutions to our customers, make sure that those are reliable and safe. So yes, governance for us was the absolute first step. We have a center of excellence in artificial intelligence that has data scientists continuously monitoring the performance of the models and identifying when the models are not accurate, in which kind of context or use cases the models are not accurate. These models perform in a different way. They are not, they are highly contextual. So each one of us, according to our digital traces that the model, the architecture of the model harvests, we may get different answers because they are customized to our own type of interest according to the digital traces of what we have clicked on in the past. So we need to be aware of those kind of differences when we are expecting an answer from the model. And that is part of the governance and the awareness and the education that we are promoting internally in the company. It's a long journey because it's a new type of technology that scientists have released, where we are all learning how these models behave. We also have a very engaged regulatory environment, particularly in California, that we are monitoring and complying with, and appreciating all the efforts of keeping personal information safe for everybody. And that is a key element of this technology, because the models learn automatically for whatever data we ingest. If it's personal information data, we need to make sure that that data is protected. And this is part of the governance that you're referring to. So again, being creative, fast, and embracing innovation in a sandbox environment, but being extremely careful when we are dealing with solutions in production delivered to our customers and protecting the environment.
So you're not just deploying AI and Gen AI for the sake of doing it. You have to have a reason. The technology has to be ready. It has to be safe, and it has to be reliable. As we wrap up here, Norma, what I really like about the Innovation Summit and why I was so excited to partner through DISTRIBUTECH this year is that it's PG&E's way of saying, here are our gaps, industry, go fill them, solve our problems. And you're forthcoming about what your problems are. And I think that is a bit of a divergence from legacy utility narratives that, we do no wrong, we're doing everything right, the lights will come on, we are the institution. There's some humility to telling the industry, I need your help. Where do you think, let me rephrase that. So in November, how will you present your needs around AI and Gen AI to that audience of partners and vendors and peer utilities? Like, what do you want them to solve for you in the next, few years?
Well, the development of this technology is so new, it's everybody's business. So we are all on this together to make this technology safe and reliable for everybody. So I would say for us, the top priority is to make sure that these generative AI models are delivering the right answers. They are robust, they are reliable, they are resilient, and they fulfill the automation promise that they are creating, that they will be faster and they will empower human beings by doing manual work, that will release our coworkers and our customers from doing monotonous, tedious work that a computer can do better, so we can apply more creative solutions and focus our coworkers' talent on the most complex problems. So our community we need to help each other as part of an external community to make this technology more robust, more reliable, and stronger for the future of our customers and our planet.
Norma Grubb, PG&E, thanks so much for joining me today. I really enjoyed talking to you.
A pleasure talking to you, John. Thank you for the invitation.